JCWoo, VBS. I just turn the water on. Big old flex. She never saw before. These chasing me like waterfalls. JCWoo.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Jessica with Things, y'all. Your favorite podcast hosted by me, your sister, Jessie Woo. All right, before we jump right on in, not out but in, during Black women's, them Native Americans did not cook no turkey for them puss-ass Pilgrims Black Women's Month. Are you subscribed? Are you following Jessica with Things on every platform that streams podcasts? If you are not, let's change that. Let's change that today. Go ahead, if you're on the Apple Podcast, search for Just a Couple Things. Hit follow there. And if you're on the Spotify thingy, spot Just a Couple Things and hit follow there so that you can get these podcasts first. And no matter what streaming platform that you're on, you can look up Just a Couple Things podcast hosted by me, click follow, and you'll get the episodes first. Also, if you are not subscribed on the YouTube channel, girl, what you waiting on? Click subscribe, okay? And if you want to get extra spicy, become a member. That's where the real content be at, okay? Shout out to the members. This is for the members, strictly for the members. Okay, let's get into today's episode, okay? I haven't done a solo podcast in a minute, but here I go. You puss-ass hoes asked me over and over again to watch The Danish Delusion, and I did, okay? I know it's called The Danish. What is it? The Danish. And mind you, when y'all kept asking me that, I'm like, Danish? Ain't that them little pastries we be eating? Why everybody want to give me a pastry? I kept saying Danish this, Danish that. In my comments, I'm like, what's going on? Is it pastry season? What's happening? I did not know this was a TikTok Risa Tisa style series that y'all wanted me to watch, and I folded just like Kaylani, and I watched this puss-ass series. And let me tell you this, because I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a summary for those of you guys who didn't watch it. And of course, I'm going to give you my thoughts. But let me start off with my thoughts. How about I start off with my thoughts, and then I'm going to go ahead and summarize and give you more thoughts. The Danish deception story. She should have titled this The Danish Delusion. Sis was delusional. Is still delusional. You can see it in her eyes. You can see it in her smiles. You can see it in the pure joy that comes out of her face when she is telling the story about how this colonizer was able to scam her, a Nigerian woman. Hey, mpoko jam sezi kon sa. Mpoko jam sezi kon sa. A white man was able to scam a Nigerian woman. Let's just stop there. A white man. Never in my life did I ever think I would hear a story where one person is Nigerian and one person is not. And a scam happens and it's not the Nigerian scamming the other person. Okay? Now, hold on. Nigerians, y'all know I love y'all. I love you. But let's be for real. Unpale bagay still, yeah. Okay? How the hell do you let a colonizer scam your Nigerian ass in 2024? 2023 to 2024, or 2025 actually, for almost 3 years, this Nigerian woman let this Danish loser scam her. And not just her friends, her family members, her co-workers, her pastor, her doctor, her neighbor. The lady who be bagging her groceries down to the Publix. Tout moun na scam na. Neg na scam tout moun ki na visifia. Tout moun, everybody now. How do you let this colonizer come and scam your Nigerian ass? And then you cock your phone up. Ou leve téléphone ou pour vin di le monde entier. Le monde entier. Hello world, I want to tell you how I why a Nigerian woman let a Danish loser scam me and my family out of more than $300,000. Hey, mboko jam sezi kon sa $300,000. $300,000. Kaka voye. Et puis c'est kaka de l'eau. C'est pas n'importe kaka de l'eau. Kaka voye. Girl. You get your phone out and you come to the internet. I know your family is embarrassed. I don't care how understanding your parents are. You are embarrassing. You are embarrassing. I don't know not one Nigerian woman personally that this could have happened to. I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, we having this discussion today, right? So it's obviously it's not impossible, but for Nigerians, son don bon Dieu ba yo même oui, pour yo dépenser comme moun. Nigerian woman, chop money. Chop money. Said chop, 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 chop. Nigerian women, they were created to spend money. Said chop, 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 chop. Not the other way around, sister. What is going on during Black Women's? Them pilgrims stole that food from them Native Americans. Black Women's Month. It's going on. And then you get your phone out and you go to TikTok and let me tell Danish deception, Danish delusion. Okay? Nigerian nonsense. Are you not embarrassed? This is embarrassing. Ou embarrassed. Ou fait honte. Ou fait honte. I'm not even Nigerian. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I would like to think as a Haitian woman, I'm concurrent. Is that the word? I'm concurrent to the Nigerians a little bit. I consider y'all to be my cousins. I am so embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for Nigeria. I'm embarrassed for the Igbo people. Girl, you like, Nigerians are having a tough time. You got MAGA Barbie out here. And then you got this lady. Then you got Burna Boy kicking people out for falling asleep. Nigeria's having a weird month. Let's wrap this month up. Nigerians are having a very weird month. What's going on? Danish delusion. Nigerian nonsense. Ou fait honte. Ou fait payer honte. You should be ashamed of yourself for being so damn dumb. And here's the thing, right? Like, let me tell you something. Because I see a lot of people, don't go too hard on. No, I'm finna be hard on this hoe. I'm so sorry. Because there were just so many opportunities for this girl to free herself. So many opportunities for this woman to free herself from this. But it is so clear, the internalized racism in this story. The internalized racism in this story, it is painful. It is painful to witness. I mentioned how Love Island and the Hood Rats exposed Nigerians this year because the way I saw a lot of Nigerian women going up for Hood, it was very weird to watch that. Again, I'm not Nigerian, right? And I don't mean to offend y'all, but the white people worship, it's a lot. You can see it. And Nigerians aren't the only one. Nigerians aren't the only ones. Okay? I saw, not too long ago, there were these two white guys who were arrested because they were plotting on going to Go Naive. Shout out to Go Naive. That's where I'm from. That's where my mama from. That's where my family's from. They were plotting to go to Go Naive to kidnap Haitians and basically colonize Haiti all over again. And there were so many Haitians. Oh my God, y'all foot con judge, Kite ovinino, y'all foot con judge. And I just remember thinking to myself, man, please, white people go to and from Haiti all the time, not a scratch. Y'all are not our ancestors. Not a scratch. Every time you hear about somebody being kidnapped in Haiti, what color are they? They ain't white. Yeah. Some of our cultures, that white worship that be going on, I don't know if we need to bring the voodoo back. The voodoo ain't strong enough no more. We need to bring the voodoo back. I don't know. I don't know what's going. We need to reach deep down in our voodoo purses because y'all are weird. The white worship is so fucking weird. You could see it in this girl's face. You could hear it in her speech, the way she talked about this man, the way she talked about meeting this man in Croatia. And I'm going to play the first 2 TikToks, and then I'm going to go ahead and summarize everything. But the white male worship in this woman was so painful to witness and to listen to and to see. Oyenka, I think that's her name, Oyenka. Let me tell you something. You're a beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. You're obviously smart, but dumb at the same time. But you're intelligent. You're book smart. You're beautiful. You seem to have a very, very great personality. But the self-value is not there. Like, we can talk about scammers all day. Those of you guys who've been following me for years and those of you guys who watch my channel, you know how I come about scammers. You know I'm good to expose a scammer day and night, okay? Day and night. And usually it's later on down the line, oh, Jessie was right. Jessie did say, yeah, I know Jessie did. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it's about me. I can spot a scammer from a mile away. I can just spot it. I could sniff it out. And every time I see people get scammed, I'm just like, there's a part of me that's like, are you fucking dumb? Like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes these scammers really go out of their way to scam you, right? They are very strategic in the way that they love bomb you and the way that they get you to trust them and let your guard down. And they, you know, they're able to infiltrate your soul, your heart, your feelings. Like, I can empathize with that, right? But the one thing, this is the reason why I feel like I've never gotten scammed, and I feel I never will. I'm not opening up my purse. No, you cannot reach down in my purse. You can't. You can't reach down in my purse. I remember when I was seeing the LA scammer, those of you guys who know the LA scammer story about what's his name? The fake pastor Adrian Davis, and he recently got arrested for defrauding the church that he was a part of. I look forward to people growing balls and actually suing him, the everyday people that I know that he's stolen money from. But I'll never forget when I was seeing him and he kept asking me to talk to my mom. He kept asking me to talk to my mom. Like, he would say, I really want to meet your mom. I really want to talk to your mom. I can't wait to meet your mom. And there was something about it that was just so weird to me. Like, maybe not weird. I thought it just had my antennas go up. And when he spoke to my mom, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. When he spoke to my mom, I don't know how they got there, but my mom said to him, you cannot there's certain things that you'll never be able to get out of Jessie. There's just certain things you'll never be able to get out of my daughter. Right. And I can't remember whether she said it was money, or I can't remember word for word. I'd probably have to go back and watch the videos. But she made it clear to him, like, if he was looking for money or if he was looking for like some sort of financial gain, like, he wasn't going to get it from me. And I remember thinking, damn, why would my mom say that to him? Like, that's kind of weird. But Lord only knew that man was trying to scam me, just like he had been scamming a long list of women for years, women and men, for years. And my mom was right. Like, there's one thing you'll never get out of me is money. And I just don't understand you women who give men money. I will never understand that. I will never understand that. Now, if you're like married, you know, I understand it. You've been together for years. You know, like you've established something. You've been married for years. You guys have a home together. You have kids together. You know each other's families. That's different. But meeting a man and within a couple weeks or months, you're giving this man money, you're taking out loans. I will never understand that. Because to me, the thing with scammers is this, right? Most of the time with scammers, they have the illusion of having a lot of money. That's one thing many of them come with. Most of them. They come with this illusion of having money. They come with these delusions also of grandeur. They come with the fancy cars. They come with the fancy clothing. They're living in the fancy apartment, condo, or mansion. They're at all the events with all the stars. And then suddenly something drastic happens and now they need you to save them. And bitch, this is not Baywatch. I won't be there. I will not be pulling you out of the water if you're drowning. I'm so sorry. I'm not a lifeguard. That's always been me. Like if you're looking for somebody to save you, it ain't me. Especially if you're a man. I will never understand as a woman why you are giving a man money. There is no explanation that will ever make that make sense for me. If that man is not your husband of many years, your families are intertwined, you know, you have children together, you started building a legacy together, that's different. Y'all that are meeting men and within a couple weeks, you are giving this man, within a couple days, you're giving this man money. This man has access to your home. This man has access to private information. This man has met certain people in your life that I just don't understand that. That will never make sense to me. Giving a man money for what? He is a man. He's a man. As a woman, I am created to spend his money. C'est pour ça, oui, bon Dieu, te créé moi. Le bon Dieu créé, c'est pour me dépenser comme nèg la, oui. Not the other way around. C'est moi pour dépenser comme nèg la. That's the way it's supposed to work. I don't understand. I don't understand what y'all be doing. Even now, my man is my wallet. Like over the weekend, I was at brunch with my man and his best friend, and I don't know how we got on this conversation, and I was like, yeah, Jay is my wallet. Mr. East is my wallet. I don't go outside with no money. I don't carry no money. I don't carry no credit cards. I don't carry none of that. My man is my wallet. Period. No, I'm not reaching down in my purse. No, for what? My man is my purse. If your man is not your wallet, drop him. Drop him. If your man is not your wallet, drop him and do it now. And do it now, quickly. Fais vite. Fais vite. Fais vite. If that man is not your wallet, drop him now. And do it quickly before 2026. Because I'm going to tell you right now, y'all hoes is not going to bring the Danish deception, Danish delusion, Nigerian nonsense. We're not doing that next year in 2026. If your man is not your wallet, drop him. Et puis faites kounya, fais vite. Fais vite. Drop him. Drop him. Kunya. And I'm dead ass serious. We're not doing this next year. We're not doing this next year. She's fucking dumb. Period. Like, I'm Oyanka, you're fucking dumb. You're just dumb. I cannot, like, I can't even be nice about it. You're dumb. And we're going to go and we're going to review the story and everything. And we're going to talk about all the ways that she was dumb. Obviously, this man is a master at what he does, right? And we're going to go through why he is. But he was a master at what he does. But let me mention another thing. One thing about scammers too, right? When you let a scammer into your life and into your circle, please understand that man or woman is not just looking to scam you. They're going to scam everybody everybody around you. That is how they move. Which is why, to this day, I still can't understand why. I be just seeing certain people in certain places. I'm just like, everybody here knows you're a scammer, but they're still, okay, cool. So please understand, like, that person who's scamming you, you have put everybody around you in danger. Everybody around you in danger. Okay? And I am convinced a lot of times you folks who date scammers and you end up in situations like this, or you're befriending scammers, it is because you're looking for your payday. And it was clear she was looking for a big payday. That's something that she won't say, but I'm gonna say it for her. I've seen scammers scam in real life. I've watched so many series, so many true crimes series about scammers. And one thing that is common amongst every scammer's victim, amongst every love rat victim or every mark, is that they were looking for some big payday. And it was a big payday that makes no logical sense. She was looking for that. Okay? She was looking for access to the money. She wanted to be a royal. She wanted to be amongst the rich. She wanted to be rich. She was so thirsty for that. And I think that more folks who have been scammed need to talk about that more. The fact that you were looking for something. You were okay. A part of you were okay. A part of you was okay with the scam as long as it meant that it was going to lead you to a big payday, a big bag. You didn't care how it was going to come. You just wanted it. And I really want more victims to talk about that, but they're not going to. They're not going to do that because then it takes accountability on their part. And some people, as you're listening to me, you're going to feel, oh my God, you're victim blaming, you're victim blaming. You know what? I am. In this story, yes, I am. Because this girl's stupidity not only cost her thousands, it costed everybody around her hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because of what? Because she wanted to be a royal. Because she wanted to have this white man, this young white man. Let's talk about it. What he did was horrible. But I need us to also have a conversation about how horrible she is. There was a part in her story, again, we're gonna go through the story, but there was a part in her story where she talked about how in the family group chat, she let this man, I think, in the family group chat with her and her mom. And after this man had deceived her out of thousands of dollars, she allowed her mother to share her banking information with this man. Oyanka is horrible. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Not going to sugarcoat that. A man scams me out of more than $10. If you think I'm finna put my mama on a WhatsApp group with a motherfucker who owes me money and have her share her banking information, you have lost your fucking mind. This girl she's horrible. Sorry, she's horrible. He need to get locked up, and so does she. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Not sugarcoating that. She's fucking horrible. Period. Let's get into the Danish delusion.
The Danish Deception, Part 1. Okay, so it all started in June of 2022. I was in a place in my life where I was working 2 jobs. I was working like a dog, and I knew I needed a break. So I reached out to my friend, Sarah, who was living in Germany at the time with her husband, and I said, let's take a trip. Let's go somewhere in Europe. And she was so down, and we were trying to decide where we wanted to go, and we decided to go to Hvar, Croatia, because we wanted somewhere that was like a cute local town that was by the water, but it wouldn't be as crazy busy as other places in Europe. And so we decided to go to Hvar. We flew to Split first, met there, took a ferry over. And at first I was just so amazed at how beautiful this place was. And so the first night I was a little bit jet lagged. So we kept it very chill, grabbed dinner, then went back to our Airbnb. And the next morning when we woke up, we had literally 2 things on our agenda, and that was to eat and drink and be by the water. And well, I guess that's 3 things, but yeah, eat, drink, and be by the water. So we went to Hula Hula, which if you've been to Hvar, you've been to Hula Hula. It's this beach club that's very well known there, and it's right on the water. And we're laying in day beds kind of off to the side, minding our own business, sipping mojitos. And I look up and I see this very attractive man. And the first thing that came to my mind was, this man looks like he is walking straight out of a Calvin Klein ad. And I'm telling you guys, 6'3", blonde hair, blue eyes, chiseled skin, so tan, muscles everywhere. I was definitely taken aback, and I feel like it takes a lot for me to really double take a man just based on his looks like that. And 100%, I was a little bit just in awe. I didn't even realize that he was like with a friend at first. And so I'm still minding my own business, keeping it chill. And he looks over at me and he says, "How are the drinks?" And I said, "The drinks are wonderful. We're just sipping mojitos." He said, "Should I get us all around?" And I said, "Absolutely. Number 1, he's cute. Number 2, who wouldn't want a free mojito?" So I said yes. We got a round of drinks and we're sipping our drinks, and we just start small talking. And I asked them where they're from, and they say that they're both from Denmark. My ex was living in Copenhagen, and then his friend was living in a smaller town called Aalborg, which is north of Copenhagen, and that was actually my ex's hometown, that his friend was still living there. And so we were just small talking the whole time. We didn't really talk about a whole lot of things. It was just like, "Where are you from?" and just basic things. But they were asking us, "What's your plan for the rest of the trip?" And we told them, we're doing a full day boat excursion tomorrow, and then we're going to dinner tonight at this place called Dalmatino. And he said, "Oh, how's the dinner spot?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I got recommended by a friend to go there." And he was like, "Okay, well, maybe we'll meet up with you guys again later." And I said, "Sure." So we're getting a little bit tired, so we decided that it's time for us to leave. And so as we're leaving, I decide to make a bold move and just ask him for his Instagram. And obviously I'm trying to be a little sly, so I asked him and his friend for their Instagrams, and we exchange Instagrams. We get into our taxi to go back to our Airbnb, and we're literally en route to our Airbnb, and I get a DM from him, and he basically said, "It was so nice meeting you. Have fun at Dalmatino. Maybe we'll see you guys later." Didn't read anything into it. I just was like, it was fun to just have a conversation with a cute guy. And so we go back to our Airbnb, we get dressed, we get ready for dinner, and we're like on our way to dinner, and he is like messaging me about the restaurant and asking us details about it. I didn't think anything of it. But we sit down, we're having dinner, we have a spectacular dinner, and we're finishing off the evening with our desserts, AKA espresso martinis. And I'm sipping my drink, and I look up and I see him and his friend at the restaurant. And they walk up over to us, and I'm like, "Oh, hey." He's like, "Yeah, they're a little booked up, but they said they can seat us in 20 minutes. I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, we're about to be done, but we'll go grab a drink. Maybe we can meet up later." And he said, "Okay, sounds good." So it's kind of awkward timing because we were finishing up dinner while they hadn't even been sat yet. And so we went to a bar across the street, and we were grabbing drinks, and I just I hit a wall, and I was like, "Okay, now I need to go to sleep." And I was super jet lagged. And so I sent him a DM just basically saying, "Hey, we are so tired. We have a full boat excursion tomorrow. I don't think we're going to stay out much later." And he was like, "That's totally fine." And so the next day we wake up, we get on the boat, and I start obviously posting all my cute photos. Remember I took a photo driving the boat, and we were just, having fun. And I was looking at my Instagram story, and I see he's hearting every single story, and he's responded to a couple of them. I am not the type of person that reads very much into activity on social media like that, but it was something that I noticed. And so, we continued on with that for a day and a half. And then he reaches out to me and he says, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And at this time, it is our last night in Havar. And he said, what are you guys doing tonight? And I said, we don't really have plans because we didn't. And he said, well, do you guys want to come to dinner with us? And me and my friend were like, absolutely, sure. And she wasn't really down to go. I kind of forced her because I was like, this guy's hot and it's a free dinner. Like, let's just go. It'll be fun. And so she's a good friend. So she came with me and we get to the restaurant and him and his friend are sitting across from each other. So obviously I took the seat next to him. I was sitting across from my friend and we're sitting there, we're having a wonderful dinner and drinking tons of wine. And I come up with this idea to play this game where I'm asking his best friend to describe what my ex's type was. And because we were obviously like vibing with each other and I was just curious. And so his best friend starts listing off everything like good morals, hard worker, all these things. And like, I felt like he was describing me. And after his friend was done talking, my best friend basically said, you know, aside from being a good cook, she checks off every single box. And I remember I looked at him, my ex, and I said, but I will become a great cook for a good man. And he starts laughing. I remember I put my hand on his leg, and that was the first time in my life that I felt that instant electricity from someone's touch. Like it literally felt like I was getting shocked. And we instantly like had this physical attraction towards each other. And we started talking about what we did for work. And I told him that I was working as a real estate agent and in tech. And then he told me, he's like, I'm actually chief commercial officer for a ad tech company that does marketing for real estate companies. So I was working in real estate and tech and he was working in real estate and tech, and everything just like felt like it was aligning. But again, I'm like, this guy lives in Copenhagen. There's nothing that's gonna come from this. So after dinner, we go and grab some drinks at a bar nearby, and we grabbed one drink, and they're definitely gearing up to go back out. And it was our last night, and my friend really did not want to go out. And I am not the type of a girl to ever leave my friend for a man, never in a million years. So I ended up just saying, hey, I think we're gonna call it a night and we're gonna head out. And he was respectful of that 100%. And I remember we just hugged goodbye and we left, and that was it. And so we're going back to our Airbnb, we're walking home, and I get a DM from him. And he said, it was so nice meeting you. I hope it's not the last time. Also, South Africa's happening. I can see it. And the reason why he said that was because I was telling him that I had wanted to go to South Africa for that following Christmas, and because my family was going to be traveling. And he said, I've always dreamt of going to South Africa. And I jokingly was like, well, you're invited if you want to come. And so whenever he made that comment to me in the DM, I was like, okay, sure. I am not thinking anything of it, right? At this point, whatever, like this guy lives 5,000 miles away from me. I'm not thinking anything of it. So the next day, my friend goes back to Germany and I go to Barcelona to meet up with some friends. And again, I'm like posting throughout my trip, and every time I look at my phone, it's like he's DMing me, messaging me, and he's continuing all of this. And I'm just a little bit shocked, but also like very interested still at the same time. And he was remembering things that I told him at dinner. Like I had told him that I was gonna buy a Chanel bag because I wanted to reward myself for working hard. And he had messaged me and been like, hey, did you get your Chanel bag? And I was literally like drunk off sangrias in my bikini and cover up in the Chanel store when I got that DM. And I sent him a selfie and he said, this is the best photo I've ever seen. And I just like felt like I could just be myself with him already. And you know, we were just getting along and having good conversation. So again, he doesn't even have my phone number at this point. We were literally just flirting through DMs. So I end up leaving Barcelona the next day, and I land, and he sends me a message, and he said, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to go to Ibiza? And I saw the message, and I was like, what? And we will continue in part 2.
So that was part 1 of the Danish delusion, okay? And one thing that really struck me during this part 1 video was it was so clear that this man was the prize. He was the prize. He was this tall white guy, blue green eyes or whatever the fuck. And she couldn't believe, like, it's so clear that in her mind, she can't believe that this man is interested in her. Like, she just can't believe it. And it's like, are you okay? Like, have you not seen a mirror? Have you not seen the way you look, Oyenka? And then when you see how he looks, it's like, I'm sorry. What? Like, it's not even like, it's not that, he's not all that. Am I tripping? He's not all that. Now, you know, my preference is black kings, okay? That's why I got myself an American, okay? A good old Southern stock man. Yes, Lord. All right? But, you know, there are some handsome white guys out there, like the white guy that's in Wicked, Matthew McConaughey, I'm sure there's others. But anyway, I mean, there's some good-looking white men out here, but he's not all that. To me, at least. To me, at the very least, right?
Like, y'all, just look at this video. Look at this video. Look at how she's looking at this man. He's not all that. I'm sorry.
It's so clear she immediately saw him as the prize. And that, I think, is one of the biggest mistakes, like, as women, that tends to be made. I've been there before. Like, you know, especially when I was younger, you know, and I would have a big crush on a guy, you know, like, I get it. But it gets to a point. Like, it gets to a point. The man is not the prize. The man is not the prize. And it's very clear from the jump. Not only did she see him as the prize, but she pursued him. Like, she pursued that man as if he were the prize. The more you hear the story, the more the story develops. Now I'm going to go ahead and play part 2.
The Danish Deception, part 2. Okay. So he sent me this message saying, you should come to Ibiza this weekend. I'm going with a bunch of friends. And he's like, I'll send you the flight. Everything will be paid for. And I thought about it for a second because, come on, who wouldn't want to go to Ibiza? And then I thought a couple of reasons why I didn't want to go was mainly because I just bought a Chanel bag. So I was like, I want to work and make more money. And also I felt like this is the type of guy that things come easy for him. And this is not something that's going to be easy for you to obtain. And I didn't want our first weekend to be like just partying together with all of his friends. Like, that's not what I wanted. So I ended up telling him no, but I just ended up saying that I needed to work. And I thought he was never going to talk to me again. But somehow this like lit a fire under him and he became even more persistent and he started pursuing me even more. And he was sending me messages like, when are you going to come visit me in Copenhagen? Or I would love to come to Dallas to come see you. And I was just like, who is this man and what's happening? Still not really taking him serious. And then maybe like a couple weeks later, he sends me another message. And at this point, we're still talking pretty consistently on Instagram. We still do not have each other's numbers. And he sends me a message. He says, hey, I have a work conference coming up in Monaco and I would love for you to come. And I read that message and I was like near the south of France, like that Monaco? And he was like, yeah, like I can get you your flight and everything will be taken care of. And I was like, okay, well, give me some time to think about it because I didn't want to say yes on the spot, but I was like, okay, this is something I definitely want to consider. So I thought about it for a while. I talked to my friends about it. I talked to my sisters about it. At first I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like, this is crazy. And then over time I started like talking myself into it. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go to Monaco. So I sent him a message and I said, hey, I've decided I'm going to come to Monaco. And he sends me a message. He said, this is the best day ever. I'm so happy. Send me your passport and everything. I'll book the flight. So I sent him a picture of my passport. And I also was like, oh, and by the way, here's my phone number. He was like, I've been waiting for you to give this to me for now like weeks. And I said, okay, here you go. Thank you for like inviting me on this trip. So I give him my phone number and he sends me a message and he said, it took you long enough. And I said, oh yeah, well, sorry. I'm just a little bit more reserved when it comes to like dating and men. Like I just like to make sure like I'm a very intentional person. And he was just so respectful to me. I remember when he was booking the flights and everything, he was like, don't worry, like I'll get you your own hotel room. Like he was just being so respectful. And so I remember our very first phone call so perfectly because it came completely out of the blue. It was like on like a Tuesday, and I'm sitting at my work desk, and he sends me a message. He's like, can I call you? And I was like, oh, he wants to call me? And I'm literally discombobulated, freaking out. Like, what am I gonna do when this man actually calls me? But I was like, you need to get together. So he calls me, I answer the phone, and he's actually in a cab to the airport. He's about to go on a work trip, and we were just small talking about our day. And I felt like those like butterflies that I felt whenever we had been together at dinner in Croatia. And I remember getting off the phone with him, and I was just sitting there like cheesing, like, which I don't ever do. And I was just, this guy is special. And he sent me a message, and he was like, you are so cute. Like, I love talking to you. And I said, I love talking to you too. And so basically from that moment on, we just started talking on the phone all the time, like for 1 hour, 2 hours a day. We started talking about a lot of things, about a lot of different aspects of our lives. He was telling me that, he was living in Copenhagen. He was living in this condo. Obviously, he knew that I lived in Dallas. And then we started talking about past relationships. And I told him, I was very honest. I said, I actually haven't had like a truly serious relationship before. I have always been a very independent person, but I do want to meet someone. I do want to like get married and have kids, but I don't feel like that pressure to like force it. Like I have such a great example with my parents, and I really want to have like an amazing love in this lifetime. And so I'm going to take my time to find that. And I asked him like, what's your history with your dating? And he was like, yeah, well, I actually was in a relationship with a girl, and we were together for about 4 years. And I actually broke up with her about 4 months before I met you. And I said, oh my gosh, like the 4 years is a long time. He said, yeah, like it needed to happen for a while. And really what happened was that she told him that she was ready to have kids, and he wasn't ready to have kids. And I guess that forced him to realize that she wasn't the one, and they were living together. So it was like a really hard situation to get out of, but he finally was able to do so. And so I was happy to hear that had been about 4 months since they broke up, because if he had said like they had just broken up, I would have been a little bit more hesitant to pursue things, because I know like you go through a breakup, you need time to heal. But I felt like, okay, 4 months should be enough time. And then we started talking about like our families a little bit too. I told him I'm super close with my family. He said I'm really close with my mom and my little sister. I do have an older sister that I don't talk to, and basically something happened, and she was like being like physically abusive, verbally, physically abusive towards his mom, and he decided to cut her out of his life because she's crazy. And I said, listen, I get that. That makes sense. Like you should not have her in your life. And I think just like over the course of a month, we're talking on the phone for just hours. And I tell people all the time that it felt like we fell in love over the phone, because from the time that I had decided to go to Monaco to the time that I actually left for Monaco, it was a month. And we had this plan that we weren't going to FaceTime at all, because we wanted the next time we saw each other to be in person, which I thought at the time was super romantic. And so, we started talking about like hypotheticals. I remember he told me one day, he said, if we ever end up getting married, you're going to meet the queen. And I remember just like laughing at that comment. And he said, no, I'm being serious. And I said, what do you mean I'll meet the queen? And he said, well, my family has a royal title. And I was like, wait, what? And he sent me this link to this site. It's called the Order of the Elephants. And he said, you can do some research and then we can talk about it. And I said, okay. So I start going through the page that he sent me, and I see someone that had the same last name as him, like some old guy from like the 1700s. And I remember taking a screenshot, and I said, is this your great-great-grandpa? And he goes, now you're getting on track. My next question to you is, how's your etiquette? And I was like, I think it's okay. And so I'm sitting here like, who is this man? He's attractive. He has a great job. He has a royal title. Like, is there anything wrong with him at this point? And I have always believed in the term, it's too good to be true. But I mean, and I was feeling that 100%. Like I felt like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? But it didn't drop that first month. It was just like, we truly fell in love over the phone. And so we are getting closer and closer to the trip to Monaco, and I start packing, and I feel like that's like when the nerves start hitting me, was when I'm packing, like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. And I remember my sister was like, you need to put air tags in like all your bags. And I'm like, I don't need to put air tags in anything. Like, I trust this man. Like, I know like it's gonna be okay. Like, every part of me felt like so safe with him already, which was crazy because I hadn't really spent much time with him. Maybe this is trauma from being on The Bachelor, I'm not sure. But I felt very safe with him. And so the day comes where I'm supposed to go on the trip. And so I order my Uber, get to the airport, and I felt like it was kind of like a good sign, because I posted that I was at DFW, and one of my really good girlfriends texted me that lives in a different state. She was like, hey, I'm actually in DFW too. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she comes, meets me at my terminal. She's like, where are you going? I go, I'm actually going to Monaco to meet this guy that I met in Croatia. And she was like, this is insane. And so I just felt like seeing that friend was like a good sign. I don't know why. And I ended up just boarding the flight. I remember boarding that first flight. I had a layover in Madrid, but boarding that first flight, I was sitting there and I was like, this shit is really happening. And all the nerves are just taking over, but I'm like, take a chill pill. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna get there. It's gonna be fine. And at that point, I was like, okay, the worst thing that happens is like, he's a crazy person and I have enough money where I can like just book my own hotel and I'll just have a good time by myself. Like, it'll be fine. So I like had that backup plan. But yeah, I had my layover in Madrid, and then my next flight was to Nice. And so I board my flight to Nice. It was like a really quick flight, and I get to Nice, I land, I get my bags and baggage claim. I sent him a text. I said, I'm here. And I'm rolling both of my bags, about to walk out, freaking out, and let's continue on in part 3.
This girl gave this man her passport. She sent this man a DM of her passport. Mind you, she sent him a DM of her passport because they don't even have each other's phone numbers yet. Why are you sending a complete stranger your passport? You don't even know this man's last name. You don't know where he lives. You know nothing about this man. And now he knows everything about you, or at least enough about you to know everything about you. Are you dumb? Like, honestly, this is where I wanted to check out. Because there's no way you are that dumb. As a Nigerian woman, I know enough Nigerians to know this shit right here. Like, there's no way you're Nigerian. I'm so sorry. Like, I need your mama's passport. Oh yeah, I need to see your mother's passport. I need to verify your parents' passports at this point. Because this is stupid. Giving a total stranger your passport through DMs. I've been with my man a year and a half. That man don't know what my passport look like, but I know his. Baby, he not seeing this passport. Yo, even like when I have to do like fill out stuff for work, I wish y'all could see what I make these people go through to get my fucking passport. That's my passport. The fact that, another thing in part 2 that was such a big red flag to me. This man was out of a 4-year relationship for just 4 months. And in her mind, she thought that he had enough time to get over that relationship. A 4-year relationship that ended just 4 months ago. And mind you, he told her the reason it ended was because his ex wanted children and he didn't want any. That wasn't a red flag to you? This man told her that he was a royal and sent her the Order of the Elephant. I had to go look that up because when she said this, I was like, the Order of the Elephant? Hold on. The Order of the Elephant is a Danish order of chivalry and is Denmark's highest ranked honor. It has origins in the 15th century, but has officially existed since 1693, and since the establishment of constitutional monarchy in 1849, is now almost exclusively used to honor royalty and heads of state. So when I researched this, right, it lets you know that there is a whole like ceremony involved, and it's an award. Like, it's only the monarch of Denmark, currently the queen, but the reigning monarch is King Frederick right now, has the authority to grant the order. So who receives it? Foreign heads of state, members of the Danish royal family. So if he's telling you that he's a member of the Danish royal family, you should be able to look up his ceremony. Did she look this up? Absolutely not. She just took this man's word for it. So she heard that he had money, that he was a royal, he wanted to plan a trip for her, and that was it for her. He was good looking, he was white, tall, blue, green eyes. That was enough for her. She was so thirsty to be attached to capitalism or royalty that she threw all sense out the window. In part 3, they had gotten to Saint-Tropez, right? They got to Saint-Tropez finally. Mind you, she had met him in the Nice airport. You know, they kiss each other. Oh, also keep in mind that they hadn't FaceTimed. The last time when they saw each other in Croatia, that was a month ago. They never FaceTimed around that time because they wanted to preserve that for in person only, which makes no fucking sense. I need to FaceTime you. I need to see what the fuck going on. I'm about to go on the other side of the world for you. You got my passport. I need to see what the fuck going on. Maybe had you been FaceTiming him, but you know what? You so damn dumb, that wouldn't matter. But anyway, they get to Saint-Tropez. He has her in these fancy hotels, and she tells this man, oh my God, I've never been in no fancy hotel like this. Oh my God, it's so nice. Oh, a balcony, oh, a pool, a spa. Oh my God, I ain't never experienced nothing. There's no way this girl's Nigerian. I'm sorry. There's no way this woman is Nigerian. Sorry. Like, girl, like, Nigerian etiquette is to act like nothing impresses you. That is Nigerian etiquette. What? Is you okay? Ho, is you cool? Nothing impresses you as a Nigerian. So the way she was carrying on with this man, acting like she had never been outside before, it was ridiculous. And hearing her talk about it too was crazy. He takes her to a fancy restaurant, and at this restaurant, he talks about his mother a lot, talks about how, you know, he loves and respects his mother. And that was so amazing to her because, oh my God, a man loving his mother, that's new. And as he's talking about loving his mother and respecting his mother, she tells this man that she's in love with him. Like, she tells him that she loves him, but he doesn't tell her that he loves her. Then she tells him that she loves him so much and she wants him to know that she's not with him for the money. Like, she's not with him because he's a royal. She's not with him because he makes all this money, has this fancy job, and has all these, you know, career moves. She's with him for him. And if he lost all his money, she would still be there. The way she was asking this man to scam her from the jump. Please scam me. Please scam me. Choose me. Love me. Like, from the beginning. It's ridiculous. They go to Cannes next, right? They go to Cannes, France. And this man, this Cannes, who takes her to Cannes, France, is taking her shopping to all the luxury stores, right? If you've ever been to Cannes, you know, like, it's just it's either luxuries or like a bunch of boutique stores, right? I've been there before. And so he's taking her to Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Louis Vuitton, like Dior, like all of Hermes, like all of the stores, right? And he's telling her, buy anything you want, buy anything you want. She says, oh no, absolutely not. I'm not with you for the money. Please, no, don't spend any money on me. Don't waste all that money on me. But she does settle for these $200 shades instead of the Dior bag that she really wanted. And do you know what this man tells her? This man tells her, oh, you're cheap. Oh, you're really cheap. And she took that as a compliment. A Nigerian girl being called cheap by a white man is taking that as a compliment. They go to dinner that night, a fancy dinner, and she gets up to go to the bathroom, and next thing you know, she's waking up from passing out. And she has a series of 3 pass outs. And by the final pass out, she wakes up in a pool of blood and pee. Okay. And he's on top of her and he's asking her if she has a history of, what was the thing that she said? Epilepsy, because she had a series of seizures that night. She's like, no, I've never had a seizure. Not that I know of. I've never experienced no seizure. So anyway, they go down to the hospital and they're at the hospital and she had to get stitches because, she had a concussion, come to find out. And in the midst of her, I guess like on her way to have the stitches, he tells her he loves her too, right? And she just is head over heels. This is literally like they've been together 2 days at this point. She's head over heels in love. And we never hear her talk about this mysterious concussion ever again. Like, I'm thinking, what in the Danish voodoo was going on? What spell did this man cast on this lady to make her pass out multiple times? And when she comes to, you're telling her you love her. Mind you, you had just told her that you couldn't tell her that you love her. Like, what is happening? And the fact that she never really talks about this again is crazy. Anyway, after this trip, she heads back to Dallas. He heads back to Denmark. And he actually lets her know that he has plans. He wants to come to Dallas. He's a mini real estate tycoon. So he's a royal. He's a mini real estate tycoon, and he wants to buy up properties in Dallas, and she's there. And so she's looking forward to him coming to Dallas. He comes to Dallas, and she's in the airport with a "Welcome to Dallas, my Danish king" sign.
Picked up some flowers for Martin's mom, and I got my sign. Time to head to the airport. Play my favorite part.
She brings him home and she cooks him up all this Nigerian food, red stew and rice. And she's like, oh my God, I put so much pepper, so much spice in his food and he loved it. Oh my God, I couldn't believe that this white man loves spice. It's like she was so easily impressed. And then you making this man some good old Nigerian food. You making this colonizer all this Nigerian food. This man who had just concussed you, or is that a word? This man who you had a mysterious concussion from. What's going on? So anyway, as they're in Dallas, she, tells him he doesn't have to spend much money. She's going to cook. Like every time he offers to do something fancy for her or to buy her something fancy, she rejects it. Oh no, I don't need you to spend money. I'm not with you for your money. Please love me, choose me. It's like the way she was begging this man to scam her was ridiculous. So, she takes him around her friends and family that she has in Dallas. And there was one day where they all went to brunch, right? And I think one of her cousins or friends asked him, hey, you have such an athletic build. You're tall. Do you play any sports? And he was like, yeah, I play, handball or something like that. And the cousin or friend was like, oh, isn't that an Olympic sport? And he was like, yeah, I've been to the Olympics twice. But he's like, oh, but it was nothing. I didn't have like a main role in it or anything, but I do have medals from it. And they're all amazed, right? They're all amazed by it, but she didn't look into it because she felt like, oh my God, he's so humble. He has so much humility. He was in the Olympics, but he's not bragging about it. And this bitch never looks this up. The man told her that he is an Olympian and she never looks this up. Ever. 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 So he has to leave for Denmark and she is still in Dallas, right? But she said when he was leaving, she felt a great sense of depression. Like just depression took over her soul. And immediately they were like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna plan this life together? Like, am I gonna go live with you in Denmark? And he's like, oh no, I'll come to Dallas. Like, I live in Copenhagen, which is like far from I think his family stayed in Copenhagen, but he lived in a city that was like 4 hours away or something like that. But anywho, they start talking about how he can build his life in Dallas, right? So he wants to go ahead and start buying up property in Dallas. So, but he also, keep in mind, has property back in Denmark. So he had an apartment building that he was building and some stuff went wrong with the apartment building and it was going to cost him $50,000, right? So immediately when he gets back to Denmark, he needs $50,000. And he's stressing out about it. Oh my God, I need this money. I need to get this money. Mind you, this is a royal who has a tech job, who went to the Olympics, but he's stressed out about $50,000, right? And guess what she does? Immediately, she's offering her services. Immediately, she's offering her money. And he's like, oh, no, I can't take your money. I can't take your money. I would never do that. And like, as the days go by, she keeps asking him to let her give him her money. And finally, he obliges. Finally, he says, yes. Okay. I'll take 7,000 from you. Or I'll take whatever you can give. She's like, I'll give you 7,000. So he takes the 7,000. Child, I had to pull out my laptop because it's so much. Hold on. Like I said, he's a royal, right? So where's his father? Where's his mother? Where's the queen? Remember, he told her, if they ever get married, she's going to meet the queen. Where's the queen? Why is he asking you or why is he talking to you about this? So anyway, she gives him the $7,000. After she gives him, I think it was $6,000. It was either 6 or 7. But immediately after she gives him the $6,000, he goes from not being able to come back to Dallas because of that $50,000 issue that he's having to booking a flight and being there in 2 days. And I'm just thinking to myself, girl, don't you realize that you just booked him his flight plus more? So now when he comes to Dallas this time, he's less fun because he's having back pain from the injury that he had at the Olympics. So not only is she his sugar mama, but she's also his masseuse. Anyway, so when he comes back to Dallas this time, her parents also are in Dallas visiting her, right? But she doesn't want them to see that he's staying at her home because they're a traditional Nigerian family. So he gets a hotel, right? But she also had like this Nigerian Igbo event that she was putting together, and he actually helped her set up, and she was so proud of that. And he was a hit with her family. And after they leave, he tells her like she's the woman that he wants to marry. So they start going to ring shop, right? Why is it that when they go ring shopping, all the rings that he wants to give her are natural rings, right? And she's like, oh, no. I want a lab-grown ring. We're not spending all that money. I don't want you spending all that money on me. No. Don't spend your money. No. Get me the cheapest ring possible. It's just so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. Anyway, y'all, honestly, it's a 24-part story, but let me try to just make this as short as possible. Every time it seems like something good is happening, this man comes up with the same type of story as the $50,000, right? Sometimes it's $50,000. Sometimes it's $100,000. He's always having these instances where some real estate deal or some plumbing company deal goes wrong. And every single time this happens, there she is offering up her money, right? Also, at the same time, he starts to have all these things that happen internally with his family. So he had an older sister that was a complete bitch to his mom, very disrespectful to his mom, that he doesn't fuck with. So he doesn't fuck with his older sister. And then his dad starts falling ill. So his dad gets leukemia one time. His dad almost dies one time. Like, it's all these things that happen that always prevent Oyanka from going to Denmark. She's always asking, hey, can I come to Denmark? For instance, when his dad almost died, she's like, hey, let me come with you. No, you don't need to come. You don't need to come. He always had an excuse. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be very successful. He's supposed to have all this money in these different accounts. From time to time, when she's letting him borrow money, he'll send her like portions of that money, and he'll do it through like this system that's sort of like Zelle, but for Danish people. But he tells her this crazy story about how every time he transfers money, the IRS for Denmark takes money out. So it's hard for him to transfer a lot of money because they take money from that transfer, which makes no sense. Of course, she doesn't look into any of this shit. She doesn't look into him being a royal. Every time he asked her for money, she just gave it. I believe it took her giving him upwards of $30,000 for him to finally allow her to come to Denmark with him. And when she finally went to Denmark with him, the home that they were staying in was given Section 8. Like, she said, it was a very humble home, very small. And she's like, oh, but the homes in Denmark are small. He's a royal. Quick search of Danish royals, the monarchy period, and you see how them people are living. Huge homes. Huge, whatever your imagination tells you, whatever you've seen on television with these royal families, that is exactly how the Danish monarchs are living. Big homes. There's no reason why they are in the hood. Okay? Also, keep in mind that most of the time when he's asking her for money, they're also turning around and taking trips that she's paying for. So she would loan him money, then turn around and pay for trips. Oh, well, we had this plan for Christmas. We had this plan for New Year's. We had this plan. Like, it's so ridiculous how much money she is spending on this man, right? So 2 years go by. From 2022 to 2024, I believe like the summer of 2024, she's just bleeding through her savings, right? And even throughout her bleeding through her savings, this man convinces her to quit her job. She had a $150,000 paying job. I can't remember where. I think she was at I can't remember what company she was at, but she quits her job to go full time into real estate, right? But he does this after she learns that he actually scammed one of her friend's husband out of $160,000 in a crypto scam, right? And mind you, when she learns of the scam, the biggest part, like the biggest bomb of this entire scam is that the friend's husband told her that the money he learned through a PI was wrapped up in a gambling site, right? So let me just rewind for a moment. When she had finally gone to Denmark months prior to visit his family for the first time, she also had a chance to spend time with some of his friends, right? And so there was one night when the friends was like, hey, let's go outside. We're going to be outside all night. Come outside with us. And she's like, oh, I would love to. But he doesn't want to, which is weird because he usually loves to be outside. He usually loves to be outside all the time. He didn't want to be. So the friend was like, oh, he probably doesn't want to come outside because, you know, he owes a lot of people in Denmark a lot of money. And she's like, why? And he's like, oh, he has a gambling addiction. And she's like, what? And the friend's like, you didn't know about his gambling addiction? And she's like, no. And he's like, yeah, like he got me for thousands of dollars through this gambling addiction. And she's like, what? So she confronts him and he's like, no, well, I had a gambling addiction 10 years ago. She's like, are you still gambling now? He's like, no. Come to find out, lo and behold and lo, he was still gambling. He was still gambling, okay? And she believed him that he wasn't gambling anymore until she found out that he stole the $160,000 from her friends, okay? As time goes by, she keeps catching him gambling. He keeps giving her these excuses about, no, it's not true. She keeps loaning him money only for him to gamble it away. He is lying to her and having her bleed through her savings like no other. And every time she's bleeding through her savings, he has this, oh, well, good news. I just made this sale. This building sold. We're about to get $300,000 for this. We're about to get $400,000 for this. We're about to get $100,000 for that. And she believes it every time. Mind you, in the midst of all this, he is now living in her Dallas home. She done got this man a visa. Okay? And it just gets to a point where she's like, okay. I don't believe this. I need you to send me my money. Oh, I can't because if I do, the IRS from Denmark is going to take the money. Okay, well, I need you to open up a Chase banking account so you can send me my money, right? And when it's time for him to do the Chase banking account, she tries to go into the bank with him. He doesn't let her do it. So of course he's still fucking lying, right? So something tells her to take his card behind his back, go down to the Chase bank. She knew, or she had been surveilling him and realized what his password was for his Danish credit card or his Danish debit card. So she figured it would be the same password for his Chase bank account. She goes down to the Chase. This man only had 34 cents in his account. She goes back to the house. Asked him how much money was in his account. He lies. She shows him the screenshot. This man was lying. Instead of calling the police, instead of leaving the house, not paying the bills, and letting that man fend for himself, let's work through this. Let's make this work. Let's make this work. Let's work through this. I want to make this work. Like, every time she would catch this man in a lie, you're my husband. Oh, I skipped through that. They went down to the courthouse, got married in the midst of all this. Didn't tell her parents. Had this man fake ask her father for his hand in marriage. Had this man go to Nigeria with her and her family. Had this man in the midst of all her family members in her village in Nigeria. This man who was stealing from her friends, putting her family and her friends in more danger, and faking like they weren't married yet. Off to the village. You didn't get me, girl. In the midst of all this thievery and scammery, this white man promises her parents that he's going to pay for both their weddings, the white wedding and the traditional Nigerian wedding. She's upset because she's like, what? No, absolutely not. You have this $300,000 that's coming in. We're going to use that and we're going to pay back my friends who you owe. He's like, oh, no, well, at least let me give your parents $10,000. Do you know she puts this man in a group chat with her mom? Puts this man in a group chat with her mom. Has her mom give this man her banking information. This man who owes her over $50,000 at this point owes her friend $160,000 or $200,000. She puts her mother in danger of being scammed by this man. So he's supposed to send her mom $10,000, right? He said he wired her the money, or transferred her the money, but the money never came. She kept asking her mom over and over, hey, did he send you the $10,000? Did he send you it? Oh, no, he hasn't sent it. I did send it. No, you didn't. My mama hasn't received it. So he was doing this through this Danish Zelle, right? So she had the app. So she acts like she's going to send her mom $10,000, right? And she realizes that the screenshot that he provided of him sending her mom the $10,000 was of a screen that you see right before you send the money, but he cropped out the button that says submit. So she confronts him with this. And finally, he's like, oh, and he's still trying to lie. He's still lying about sending her mom this $10,000 for their traditional wedding. At this time as well, his mother was offering her to pay for her wedding dress. And she told his mom, oh, no, I'll pay for it and you can give me the money back later. Oh, and I skipped the fact that his daddy died, right? His daddy died on her 30th birthday trip, and he showed no emotion for this. Nothing. Didn't care to actually have her fly to Denmark for this. It was just the weirdest shit. Weird shit after weird shit after weird shit happens. Now she's holding on to the fact that he had this thing about how, there was a business account that had been frozen. I skipped so much. There's so much. But there were accounts that were frozen by the IRS that he couldn't get to. He had to have all these hearings. And every time, like, it would seem like they were going to get unfrozen, they wouldn't, and he would need money and she would give him more money. But anyway, during the time of the fact that he was supposed to transfer this money to her mom's account, there was this business account that was supposed to unfreeze the summer of 2024. And that business account was going to have, I believe, $200,000 in it, right? But because it was taking so long, she was not only giving him money, but adding him to her credit card. She added this man to her credit card so that they could build his American credit because it was at zero. Do you know this man took out a $7,000 cash advance on this girl's credit card? And when he did this, he gambled it. She caught him gambling again. Mind you, didn't say this. She had this man going to AA meetings. So they have AA meetings for gamblers. She was going with him, because she wants to work things out, make it work. It's her husband. She wants to make it work. This is her husband. She is his wife. As his wife, they have to make things work. So anyway, going back to when she confronted him about the $10,000 transfer to his mom, that was enough for him. He was tired of her catching him in his lies. So he actually called their wedding off, packed all his shit, and left to go back to Denmark and told her it was over. He doesn't want to be married to her anymore. He's going to divorce her. And the next time that she would hear from him would be for him to give her all her money back and her friend's money back as well, right? But even with all that, she's like, no, you can't leave. I'm your wife. We have to make this work. And she tells him, I have your passport and I'm not giving it back to you. You're my husband. Come home. Let's talk about this. We can work through this. Like, the man had to ask this lady for a divorce.
The Danish Deception, part 21. So a lot of the things that transpired over the next couple of days happened over text. So I have my old phone. I'll be reading a lot of the messages because it's hard to really convey everything just based on memory. So I send him a screenshot of the test transaction that I did and then the screenshot that he sent me for my mom. And I literally put them right next to each other. And I said, here's a side-by-side comparison for your reference. You've been caught red-handed, but if you want to keep lying, by all means, do your thing. And you can clearly see that you dragged it down to remove the schedule payment button. And then I had the test transaction with the schedule payment button circled. He says, I am telling you, Anyeka, I made the transfer to the account she gave me. I would have come clean right now if I had it. At this point, I think we should call off the weddings. We are not working as a team and I don't want to keep fighting over this. Your mom will get her $10K as soon as I get it back. No, let me rephrase that. We are calling it off. I'm doing my best for everyone. Now it's time to focus on my own mental health. I will stay at a hotel for a few nights. This is all too much for me. Once I get the money, we can discuss if there's a future, but the weddings are off. So at that point, I'm just, what is happening? This is just, I'm so confused. Obviously, I had just bought my wedding dress and I was planning this wedding, but the weddings weren't even like on my mind. I just knew that he was struggling with something really, really big and I wanted to know what it was. And the weddings, at this point I was like, let's cancel the weddings. I don't even care. I was more focused about his well-being and making sure he was gonna be okay. So I do another test transaction, but this time I actually loaded money into Revolut and then I sent it to myself. And so I said, FYI, this is what it looks like when you actually make a transfer in Revolut. And I did like a couple $100s, just a small amount. And I said, the lies need to stop. Aren't you tired and exhausted? Do you think I want that for you? He goes, don't worry about me. I'll go to Denmark either tonight or tomorrow. I have enough miles to book it. Then we'll figure out the business account and you'll be made whole. After that, we can figure out the next steps. So to answer your question, yes, I'm tired, but I'm more than tired. I am done. So I sent him this message. You think you leaving is what I want? We don't need space. We need a relationship that's open and honest. You say you want to focus on your mental health. Keeping up with your lies and taking on this stress is destroying your mental health. You say you want to work as a team. How can we if you can't be honest with me? I'm here for the good, the bad, the ugly, but we can't work through any of this until you can give me the honest truth. So he gets back from the gym and he walks in the house. He walks past me. He walks past my best friend, goes up to the room. I follow him into the room and I go, hey, can we talk about this? He said, what is there to talk about? I told you I'm done. And I go, what does that mean? He says, I want a divorce. And at this point, I'm just stunned because never once has he mentioned leaving me or divorce or anything. So I'm shook at this point. And then he proceeds to tell me, he said, you prioritize your friends and family above me in our relationship. I've never felt like this is my home. I'm a guest in this home. My stuff is in the guest closet. And I'm like, your stuff wouldn't fit in the master closet. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm just sitting here just so confused. And he said, you only love me when there's money in my account, which is crazy because there was tons of times where there wasn't money in his account.
Oyenka had got scammed out of thousands of dollars. He scammed her friends out of thousands of dollars. Bled through all of her savings. Mind you, this is a woman who had paid off her loans, bought her home, didn't owe anybody anything. She still wanted to make it work with this man. He had to tell her he didn't want her. Leave her high and dry. Pack all his shit while she was gone. And mind you, they're communicating via text. She's like, no, please don't leave me. I want to make this work. He's like, you don't even love me. You only love me when I have money. Mind you, the man never had money. The man never had any money. And he said, go be with your family since they're more important than me. You put them over me. Just gaslighting her. Gaslighting her. So anyway, he's off to the airport, right? And she's like, you know what? I'm going to bring you your passport. I'm going to bring you your passport. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. Keep my passport. Keep my green card. It's nothing for me to get an emergency passport. It's nothing for me to get an emergency passport. And that just let me know that this man knows what he's doing. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He basically tells her to fuck off. I don't ever want to hear from you again. I don't want to be your husband. And she's like, but you're the love of my life. And he's like, you were the love of my life. Fuck you. I'm going back to Denmark. So she is hysterical. She's crying. And this leads her to finally tell her friends and family everything that's been going on. So as she tells her friends and family everything that's been going on, she finds out that this man stole $3,000 from her little sister. Told her little sister that he was going to surprise her with a birthday gift that he never surprised her with. So something told her to start calling her friends. Because if he did this to her little sister, he had to do this to her friends. One by one, she calls her friends. Oh yeah, he got me for $10,000. He told me that he had this like car dealing company and that he wanted me to invest in. He got me for $10,000. Oh yeah, he got me for $20,000. He told me that he was buying this property for you, that he told me not to tell you, that it was going to be a surprise for you. Oh yeah, he got me for $30,000. He ran through all of her friends, co-workers, the lady at the front desk in the building, the lady down to the front desk, the concierge. Like, he ran through all of her friends, siblings, as many as he could. There was this one Danish couple that he got for, I think it was $40,000. Now, mind you, it was a couple that they met when he first got there. I think she knew the guy. And the guy was like, "Oh, your guy's Danish? Oh, let me meet him. We never meet, any Danish folks." So the Danish guy that she knew takes her husband up under his wing. "Oh, I'm gonna get you the best job. There's a lot of businessmen here that you could do business with." The man said, "First of all, I didn't say anything to you because you're Nigerian. I thought you were in on the scam." I thought you and the Danish dude were behind scamming me, so I just, I cut my losses. But he said it took a lot for that man to scam me because we had 15 meetings. And he had to give up collateral in order for us to make these business deals. Now, something I skipped over a lot of shit, but he had a collection of Rolexes, right? And there was one point in time where she was bleeding so much money that he offered to sell his Rolexes. Little did she know, he wasn't selling his Rolexes. He was giving it to the Danish guy that she knew as collateral for their business dealings. Lo and behold and lo, the Rolexes that were supposed to be worth, I think, $50,000 each were fake. Were fake. Okay?
Danish Deception, part 23. So at this point, I am feeling all the emotions. I'm feeling so much sadness. I'm feeling deep anger. I'm feeling so heartbroken. I'm feeling a little bit of relief because now I know. There's not a question in my mind on who this person is and what he's done. Like, I know exactly who he is. But the feeling that was taking over me completely, as you guys can imagine, is shame. I felt so ashamed. I felt like I didn't recognize the person that I had been for the past 3 years. And when you fall out of love with a psycho narcissist, it's disorienting and empowering at the same time. And it's almost like walking out of a dark room and experiencing sunlight that you never knew ever existed. And that was when I told myself, I've been living in someone else's reality and I want my own back right now. So I pick up the phone, I call his sister, and it's on FaceTime. I'm bawling my eyes out and she's just apologizing. She's like, "I'm so sorry." She said, "I felt as though he was living above his means and this is always a sign, but when he's gambling and stealing from people, and I wanted to have a conversation with you, but I didn't know if you were gonna believe me." And he had told the whole family that he had told you about his gambling addiction and about everything in his past. And I told her, I said that wasn't the case. And she said, "Well, yeah, his addiction got really, really bad about 10 years ago. He owed money to some really dangerous people. They actually threw a brick through his parents' window, and they chased his friend through the streets with a knife. And she's a police officer, so she wanted to protect him. So she actually went and met with these like dangerous loan sharks and figured out a payment plan for them. And then my ex got a job in China, and then he moved to Shanghai and didn't pay anyone back. And he owed money to his parents. He owed money to tons of people. I did not know any of this. I just knew he owed money to his best friend at the time, and obviously crypto. So I thought these were like small, obviously not small, it's a large amount of money, but I thought these were isolated incidents. I didn't know that this was a pattern. And she was like, once he moved to China, he was there for like 6 months. And then I started receiving messages from people in China. So he was conning people in China as well. So we are now at 3 continents. We have North America, Europe, and Asia. And I'm just completely mind blown. I said, well, how in the world did it get this bad? And she said, well, he got treatment about 10 years ago. And the specialists and the therapists and the counselors at this facility, they told the family that he had the worst gambling addiction that they had seen in their careers. And his family said nothing to me. So that conversation 100% deepened my anger and resentment towards the family. I've worked through a lot of that in therapy, but I still just cannot understand how this shit was not brought to me. But, then she proceeds to tell me this is why I don't have a relationship with him, because, I have kids now, and I could see he has no desire to change, literally none. And I told her, he said that your family had all this money. She said, that's absolutely not true. We're very average, middle-class family. And I also asked her, I was like, has he ever owned any property in Denmark ever? And she said he has never owned a single piece of property in Denmark in his life. So I get off the phone with his sister, and then his ex is now available. So I call her and she answers, and I say hi, and she's very, very nice. And she just says, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I know how devastating it is. And she said, do you want to start, or do you want me to start? And I said, I would love to hear about your experience and understand what you went through. And she started it off saying, okay, well, we were together for 7 years. And I was like, 7 years? He told me 4. So the first sentence that she said was already a lie that he told. And she said he stole money from me, he stole money from my parents, he stole money from my friends. And there's actually a colleague of my dad's that he took money from after meeting him one time. He met this man once and was able to get money from him. I was so shook at everything I was hearing. Obviously, it was her dog. That dog was hers. It was never his dog. She also told me that the godson of the plumber was never his godson. So that was also a lie. Obviously, he never invested in that plumbing business. That was all stupid, all lies. And I asked her, I was like, 7 years is a long time. Like, what pushed you to finally leave? She's like, I just realized he wasn't going to change. And, for a while I knew I should have left him, but I felt like I was just in deep sunk cost fallacy. I feel that too. And then I asked her, I was like, when did you guys break up? They broke up on December 23rd of 2022. So do y'all remember that story about his dad being sick in the hospital and him getting in a fight with his sister and the back surgery and all the bullshit? It was all a lie. He was living with her. They broke up. She left him 4 months after we started dating. At this point, guys, I was numb. I couldn't even say this man cheated on me. He cheated on her. I was the other woman. And I was so numb to the cheating. I didn't even, it was just okay, let's add something else to the list. I don't even think I cried. I was just like, well, what's next? Let's see. And it truly felt like for that 24 hours, I was living the same nightmare over and over and over and over again. So at that point, I'm like, it is time to fight. And for starters, I need a divorce. So I start looking up divorce attorneys on day one, and I actually had 2 meetings with the divorce attorneys while all of this was unfolding. So I truly felt like I was fighting for my life. And at the same time, I'm still reaching out to different people that have met him to see if they've given him money. And so I leave my cousin's house, I go back to my house, and I'm with my cousin's wife and my sister and one of my friends. And at that point, I'm like, it is time for me to call my parents. And I was so nervous because I'm like, my parents at this time didn't even know that I was married. So now I have to tell them all these things. On top of that, I have to tell them that I'm legally married. And so I get home, I call my dad, and I'm telling him, hey, I need to talk to you. He's like, what's going on? I go, he's not coming back. And I proceed to tell him about the addiction, the money, everything. And then I ask my dad, I go, but please tell me he didn't take money from you. And my dad goes, don't worry about that right now. And then I was just on the floor screaming. Like, this is my family. This is my family. I didn't even know how to pick myself up. And then I heard my dad, I was on FaceTime with my dad, and he just goes, you need to be strong. And I immediately get up, sit on the couch, and he looked at me. He's like, you need to be strong. He said, what he took is a drop in the bucket, and we're gonna get through this as a family. And that was just, you guys, I have the best parents in the world. So then my mom comes home from work, and I talk to her on the phone. My dad had already told her, and I pick up the phone and I'm FaceTiming her too. And I'm like, Mom, I'm so sorry. And she goes, why are you sorry? You have no reason to be sorry. She goes, everyone that knows you knows your heart. And I love you. You're my daughter. And we're going to make it out of this stronger than ever. I have the best family, the best friends, the best support system, and this whole tragedy of a situation reminds me of that every single day. And I just, through all the darkness, they are my light. So I'm on the phone with my mom, just talking to her about everything, and then this name pops in my head. So there is this man, and his wife is from Denmark, and she had found my ex on LinkedIn and was like, it's so rare that I meet other Danes in Dallas. Would love to have you and your wife over for dinner. So we went to dinner with them, and they were so nice, so kind. And this man is extremely successful. They were living in a very nice home, and he just felt like he wanted to take my ex under his wing, and he wanted to find him a great job. And he was also working in tech, similar to my ex. So this man had taken him to like car shows. He met billionaires and made so many connections through this man. He just really wanted to be a mentor for him. And so his name popped in my head, and I was like, Mom, I gotta get off the phone. So I get off the phone and I call him, and I go, hey, it's Anyeka. And he goes, hey. And I go, is everything okay? He goes, how can I help you? And I go, did my ex take money from you? And he says, that motherfucker took $30,000 from me. And I was just so shook. Like, another victim, and this man was just trying to help him. That's all he was guilty of, was trying to help him. And so I asked him, I go, how did he get all this money from you? And he said, well, he told me he was investing in this land. He was building a quadruplex, and he had to rerun the water lines, and he was looking for investors. He said they had 10 to 15 business meetings before this man gave my ex a dime. And he said, listen, Anyeka, I'm a man that's found a lot of success in my life. I have $1.5 million worth of cars. I have $500,000 worth of watches. This man had to work hard to pull one over on me. He said, I have loaded guns in every single room in my house. I didn't know if this man was a part of a group. And I asked him, I go, why didn't you bring this up to me? He goes, well, Anyeka, you're Nigerian. Like, that's a scamming capital of the world. I didn't know if you were in on it. And that's when the irony hit me. I'm Nigerian, and I'm a proud Nigerian. I tell people it's my biggest flex. But the country's not perfect. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. But one of our weaknesses is that there's a ton of scammers. Versus Denmark, who's considered to be this prestigious, wealthy, happy country. So the fact that a Danish man pulled this over on a Nigerian or Nigerians collectively, it just blew my mind. And that's when he says, I'm going to tell you something else that's probably going to blow your mind. And I said, what is it? And we will continue on in part 24.
Like, the man was out here scamming every which way. So with every friend that she was calling to figure out if he scammed them, she would call him, oh my God, you did this to so-and-so. And he's like, yeah, I don't need you to call me every time you figure out who else I scammed. It's like, I don't need you to call me every time you figure out who else I scammed, baby, okay? Yes, I scammed everybody. Please, stop calling me, stop confirming, please. And she kept asking him, who else? Who else? Who else? Finally, she calls her parents. And she says, Dad, did he get you? And her dad says, baby, be strong. Be strong. What he took from me was just a drop in the bucket. Be strong. Her mother, be strong. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your... There's no telling how much money this man got from this lady's Nigerian parents. There's no telling what sob story he gave to these Nigerians for them to give this man all their money. Okay? She never tells us what he took from her dad. Her dad, I guess, never told her either. So at this point, she is on Instagram and she goes and unblocks his ex. Now, just rewinding a bit. When she first got with him, there was like all these, a group of Danish people who started following her out of nowhere on her socials. And she's like, damn, where did all these Danish people come from? And he gave her this lie about how, oh, they're just jealous that I'm not in Denmark anymore, that I've moved on, that I'm living the American life that they want to live. Whole time, one of the profiles seemed to be his ex. And she had told him that up front, like, hey, isn't this your dog? Like, this is your dog that was in your pictures. And he was like, yeah, that's my ex. But, just block everybody, right? Just block everybody. Oh, side note, just going back a little bit. When she realized that he didn't send her mom the $10,000, something told her to finally look up. Something told her to put pictures that he had sent her very early on that seemed to be his apartment pictures of him, pictures of his apartment space in Denmark. She searched the Google images on Google and it led back to some interior design company in Germany. So that man never had those apartments, right? Fast forward to now. She finds out he done stole all this money from her friend's family. She unblocks his ex. She reaches out to the ex. The ex messages her back immediately, lets her know that they weren't together for 4 years. They were together for 7 years. And that man scammed her entire family, she had coworkers that he got to. She had somebody that was in her, neighbors that he got to. She said there was even one guy that he met just one time through her that he stole thousands of dollars from. Like, the man is surgical. And mind you, where's all this money going? Gambling. And why y'all giving this man money? What proof is he showing y'all? Like, even with her, she's like, oh, I want to see your banking statements. As if he can't fake banking statements. Mind you, most of the time when he would show her stuff, it would be in Danish. And but he's translating it for me. This is Oyanka, dumbass. Just dumb. Suddenly, his sister calls her and tells her, hey, the reason me and him don't have a relationship is because of his gambling addiction. I'm a police officer. I had to work my police magic to stop him from getting killed in these Denmark streets. I worked out a payment arrangement with him and a bunch of people that he owed money to. I even worked out something for him to go to China, to go work in China to get the money he owed people. But when he went to China, he started stealing from the Chinese. It had to get put out of China. Okay? This man was going from continent to continent making the continents meet with his scams. Okay? Now, back to the Danish guy that she had introduced her husband to. He let her know, oh, did you not know that I filed a lawsuit against him? I filed a lawsuit against him and had him served. And she's like, when did you have him served? And then she remembered that there was one day where he accepted a delivery at the door. Like, he ran to the delivery at the door and he said, oh, my incorporation papers came in. My LLC papers came in. I had them expedited. Which, by the way, that shit comes, like, it doesn't, I mean, it will come in the mail for you, but it doesn't have to. That shit is electronic. So is she okay? Make a long story short, because the guy told her about the lawsuit he filed, she then got a lawyer and was able to get a divorce from him, right? But it was when she got the lawyer that he changed his tune. Oh, I want to be with you. I love you. I'm sorry. He was sending her all types of ChatGPT type of apologies. It was insane. And in the midst of him trying to apologize to her, there was one day where she was driving and lo and behold and lo, this man pulled up next to her. What is he doing here? I thought he was in Denmark. Then come to find out, one of her friends actually called her up and said, oh, I saw him last night in my building with, a lady that seemed to be a lady of the night. And she wasn't even all that. And she, as Oyanka's giving the story too, she's like, yeah, apparently he was, out with some woman who was a lady of the night, who's a prostitute, and she wasn't even a 10.
She says, I saw your ex last night. And I was like, I was with you till 1:30. Where did you see him? She was like, my building. And she lives in a building that is residences and a hotel and like restaurants and a cocktail bar. There's a lot of people in this establishment, and she was getting home because she lives in the residences, and she saw my ex with a woman that, let me just say, based on the way she was described to me, I would think she was a street hooker, 100%. And it was also kind of communicated to me that she might be like a 1 out of 10. And my ex was with her, and he was holding her jacket and getting cash out of the ATM at 2:15 in the morning. So, we all have our guesses on what that could have been. So she tells me, and I'm like, okay, so cool. He's hanging out with prostitutes in public. Love that. And at this point, I had not announced our breakup, and you guys know I did a post telling people we weren't together. This was like before that. And so at that point, I felt so disrespected because, people know me in Dallas, and they're gonna see him with a hooker, and it's just so disrespectful to me. And I'm like, after everything you've done, like, you're still going, you're still not finished. And so I send a message to his sister just saying that I'm absolutely disgusted with him. So I tell her everything, and my friend actually got photographs of this man holding her jacket. Like, she got the photos. And she asked me, are you comfortable with me reaching out to him and letting him know? I said, absolutely, I don't care. So she reaches out to him, and then he sends me a text and says, I was not buying sex last night. I was buying weed.
And the way she's talking about this lady as if the lady's beneath her, I'm like, bitch, I would rather be a prostitute that he was down to the ATM for, because apparently he was seen getting money out of an ATM for the lady. I'm thinking, bitch, I would rather be a prostitute getting my money from this man than to be your dumb ass who not only got scammed, but got your entire family and your friendship circle and your coworkers and your associates scammed. Please don't tell this story from a place of being up high. You're dumb. You're dumb. The prostitute is the only smart bitch in this story. Because then I'm also thinking, so all her friends and family members were getting scammed and none of y'all said anything to her or at least to each other? The way this shit would never happen in my family, like in my family, we have nicknames for people who be stealing. Like from time to time, we have nicknames like, oh, menduet, we menduet, menduet. Duet means finger in Korea. Menduet, we menduet. We've had family members who we know be stealing. Menduet, we menduet. We talking about you in your face and you don't even know because we got a nickname for your ass. Duet, 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 menduet, duet, finger. Sticky fingers, duet. You're welcome. That's your Creole word of the day. Anyway, make a long story short, she was able to get a divorce from the man. And one of the things that he had told her, oh, you know what? I don't care if you tell everybody everything. So this is why she's on TikTok telling everybody everything. I kind of jumped around a lot. It's 24 parts. Let me say this. I said some of my thoughts at the beginning, but let me also say this. I remember 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago when the Risa Tisa thing happened? And I got dragged for making a comment about saying how I had very mixed feelings about Risa Tisa getting signed to CAA, I think it was, that she had got signed to at the time. And people dragged me, oh my God, you're a hater, you're a hater. You know, I'm always a hater. I hate black women. That's always the narrative. When I say shit, and I be right. One of the things I had mixed feelings about was that she was rewarded for that, right? And not saying she shouldn't be, but I remember saying how now so many people were going to feel like they had to do that or feel pressured, even like influencers. There were a lot of like agencies or agents telling their influencers, you need to be like Risa Tisa. You need to do these series. You need to get on your job. Do these series, part 1, part 2. How many series have we seen since Risa Tisa? Look at the lady Kendra who fell in love with her therapist. Like, the way these girlies think they're going to be the next Risa Tisa, it's like, sister, you're not. You're not. Risa Tisa was dumb. Period. She was dumb, okay? But one thing I liked about Risa Tisa, she took accountability. And she was such a good storyteller. It was like, she was dumb and she wanted us to know that she knew that she was dumb. But the rest of y'all hoes, when y'all are telling these stories, the lack of accountability and it's so apparent that you want to be Risa Tisa too, it's just not going to work. This girl mentioned Risa Tisa too when she was telling her story. It's like, you're not going to get signed, boo. I know you were a bachelorette. I think she was on The Bachelor one time. It's not going to happen for you, boo. That door's closed. I'm not saying nothing else can happen for you. I'm not saying that there's not no other blessings that God has in store for you, but you're not going to be the next Risa Tisa. It's not happening. Risa Tisa did a number on us. That shit's never going to happen again. That was lightning in a bottle. Okay? I don't know, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this. For me, I don't understand why this man is not behind bars. When I think about the other lawsuit that the other guy filed and the fact that he did all these things to Oyeka and her friends, I'm wondering, like, y'all can't get together and do a class action lawsuit? Like, and I wonder if this man has had any other victims after her. I'm pretty sure he has, because all this came to a conclusion this summer. She got her divorce this summer from this man. Also, again, I just, for the life of me, I don't understand giving a man money, number one, but also giving a man money that you don't even know this man. You barely know him. You don't know him. Why are you giving this man money? I will never understand that. The anti-blackness within Oyeka, it was loud watching this. It was loud. The stupidity was insane. The stupidity was insane. This was not deception, in my opinion. Yes, he love bombed, but to be honest, she pursued him. Like, she pursued him till the end. This man had to ask her for a divorce. Had he not asked her for a divorce, she would have never stooped down and finally told all her friends and family what had happened. There was a part when she was telling the story, oh, I didn't tell my friends and family because I was protecting him. No, you were protecting your own stupidity. You knew that the moment you told these people this, you knew that they were going to look at you different and look at you for the dummy that you are. And even though all the people in her life gave her a lot of grace, I do not doubt for a second that they went back home, or when they got off the phone with her, they was like, damn, this bitch is dumb. But then also, they all got scammed. So y'all dumb too. Y'all dumb too. Because it's like, why am I giving this, like, what did this man give you? What verification? What did this man give you? One of her friends said that he got a PI after this man got him for $160,000 in crypto. Why didn't you get a PI from the beginning? Why are you doing a crypto deal with a man you barely know? Oh, because he told you he was a royal? Did you not look it up either? Did you not look it up either? Mind you, when she finally talked to his sister confirmed they're not royals. He's never had no companies, never had no properties. All that shit was a lie. And he was just living beyond his means. Oyanka wanted to be that white man's black queen so bad that she led that man into the shed where he could exterminate everyone around her. I have no sympathy, no empathy for this lady. None. Because she led this man around all her family after he had already been scamming her. Had it been before and she had no idea, or had it been a thing where he didn't do anything to her and he was doing all this shit behind her back, that's different. But that, like, you can't take $10 from me and think I'm going to have you around my family and friends. That's just not happening. That's just not happening. Sisters, I can't say this enough. Vet. Okay? Especially if the man is not a man that's from your city, from your town, if he's from out of state, if he's from out of the country. There are ways to vet someone. Vet. You know what's another thing that was very alarming to me was just how she got married with this man, and she got married to this man and there was no mention of like STD checking. Like, so did you get a full like panel? You know, like there's so many proposed STD blood work, chromosome work, if that's the word, or like, you know, like there's so many proposed testing for you to do with someone before you get married. And she didn't even do that. Like, the girl did nothing to vet this man. Nothing. Everything the man told her, she believed it. Even when he would lie to her and she would catch him in a lie, she would still believe it. And she would say, oh, it's because I love him. We're so in love. I was blinded by. That's not love. That is desperation. You cannot be so desperate that you are willing to offer your own detriment on a platter to a complete stranger. Oyanka was desperate. Desperate. And mind you, you did all that just to end up with some trailer park trash from Denmark. That'd be another thing. Y'all be thinking that white folks from Europe, oh, we're in Europe. She was so amazing. Oh, Europe. Them Europeans be trash as fuck. They smell horrible. They don't brush their fucking teeth. They don't season their fucking food. They're fucking colonizers. And here you are in modern, like, you're helping him modern day colonize your own friend group and family. Because you were so desperate to be that white man's black queen. Like, it's just pathetic. Men are trash. 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 I can't say it enough. Men are absolute trash. But ladies, we need to do a better job of our decision making when it comes to these men. Why are you giving a man your money? Why? Why are you moving a man into your home who you have not vetted? You don't know his family members. You have no mutuals. You don't know where he works. You haven't met not one coworker. And then she complained about, oh, I'm not your sugar mama. Yes, you are, bitch. You are his sugar mama, his bank. Okay? In your house, not paying one bill. A white man.
Come with us to our very first modeling gig together with the Ritz-Carlton. Y'all, we were so excited for this. This was also Martin's first time modeling, which I knew he was going to crush it because, come on, he already looks like a model. We started out the day taking shots at the pool, sipping some refreshing drinks, and you can't see it in these videos, but the sweat was dripping, y'all. We literally were fighting the urge to jump headfirst into the pool. The team we worked with was amazing, and they kept hyping us up, and Martin was like, I could get used to this model life. But in all honesty, we felt so natural, and I know all the shots and videos they got are going to turn out so great. They asked me for a solo moment by Martin, so I channeled my inner Tyra Banks the best I could because modeling is obviously not something that I do very often. After the pool shots, we went back to the room to change into our second look for the next portion of the shoot at Fairings, which if you haven't been, the food is so bomb. Like, seriously, bury me in my grave with one of those lobster rolls, please and thank you. We spent so much of the shoot laughing and just having fun, and this day really served as a reminder to try to find joy in everything you do, especially with the people you love. Not me whispering in Martin's ear about how I can't wait to have more of the lobster roll. We finished off the shoot with two of our favorite things, wine and dessert. I swear, Martin almost ate his whole dessert before they finished getting the shots. It was so funny. I cannot wait to see the results, and we've already scheduled our staycation because the vibes are really that great. After the shoot was done, we spent the rest of the afternoon in the pool, and it was the perfect end. For your very first 4th of July as a U.S. resident?
Sure, if I can do it in Danish.
You can do it in Danish.
Okay, well here we go. Til alle mine amerikanske venner, glædelig uafhængighedsdag. Det er en stor dag i dag. Husk på, at det er et privilegium at bo i et land med så mange muligheder, som vi har her i USA. Jeg har været heldig at rejse til mange lande verden over og set lidt af hvert, og jeg er taknemmelig for at være her i USA, og alle de muligheder, der kommer med det. Jeg er taknemmelig for at være omgivet af mennesker, som jeg holder meget af, og som holder meget af mig. Så glædelig uafhængighedsdag.
I know oftentimes I talk about how a lot of times when black men date outside their race, it is rooted in anti-blackness. This story right here is one of those instances where the same thing goes. The same thing goes. This girl, like, she was desperado, el desperado, to be linked up to a white man. You can't be that fucking thirsty. You can't be that fucking thirsty. Are you okay? Anyway, y'all, drop that in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure that you're following Just a Couple Things on every platform that streams podcasts. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see these visuals. Like this video. Leave a comment. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, child. And stop giving these men money. What's wrong? I'm back on.